Hey folks, this is Allison Rock with another lesson here. And this lesson we want to cover another common mistake that caused most investors to fail. And that is really not having the right system. Now, a lot of investors don't realize it, but they do have a system for doing their business. It just happens to be a very poor one. So what we want to talk about in this lesson is really the benefit of actually having a good system or a proven one. Now, most of you may not know this, but Rock was actually the youngest regional training manager at a Pizza Hut chain, and he actually doubled revenue at several of their stores. So I wanted to have him talk a little bit about, like, in the franchising, in the restaurant world, there's of course restaurant franchise, and most of them are well known for having really good systems. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
I worked in the past. I worked for McDonald's, and from there I worked for Pizza Hut. And working for those kind of companies, you definitely see how beneficial it is to have a good system. Like Alex said, most people have a system, but sometimes it's really a bad one because it doesn't work for you. But so if you have a proven system, once you learn the process, once you set up a system, it'll be very easy to do business, and also your life will become a lot simpler because you have a system, you know what needs to be done. And that's what I learned from Pizza Hut, basically. Like Alex said, I was the youngest training manager. I worked for them for about 4 or 5 years, and within that 5 years I had 11 stores. I was actually training managers and assistant managers, and I was in charge of the whole training system. And what we were basically training is their system. What we wanted to make sure that all the managers and the shift managers, crew, the whole everybody in the store follow their system, and their system was very simple. I mean, a whole lot of it were very complex, but to begin with, just on the surface, it looked very easy.
Well, a lot of it, like I said, most systems, when you really break it down properly, they are simple steps.
Very.
A lot of time when a system looks overwhelming, it's because it hasn't been broken down to enough smaller steps. Like, for example, if we were to kind of give you guys right now, say, go design a system for buying houses, and you've never done it, it'd be overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
But if we break it down and saying, well, you first have to generate the lead, and then you have to know where the lead goes, and then you have to have a step for actually then figuring out whether that seller is motivated or not. And the way you do it is you follow a particular script and you ask these 4 questions. Then it becomes a little bit more step by step.
Yep.
But you just say, okay, go build a system for buying houses. Most people would kind of look like a deer in the headlight. They say, I don't know how to do that.
Right.
So a key to a system and make a key to a good system is that the steps are broken down so that it can be explained to somebody else. I mean, I assume that you weren't in there since you're managing 11 stores, you weren't back there baking the pizza with the cook, right?
No, actually, I was not, and I was one of the top 25 superstar managers in the whole country. But again, I wasn't cooking pizzas.
Right. So you were managing the people.
I was managing people, and truly, the store managers that were cooking pizzas and trying to save some money, trying to shortcut the system, were actually not making money.
Yeah, because really, and just a little bit background about my background. I was a vice president engineer and I had 80 engineers. And when you're managing 80 software engineers, it's very tempting to sit down and try to outcode
Yep.
your software engineers. And in reality, that was pointless. It took me several months to actually get the hang of it. And my CEO sat down and said, we're not paying you this money because you're a great software engineer. We're paying you this much money because you're managing 80 of them.
Yeah.
And so that was a learning curve for me. So a lot of folks, that's something you have to really understand is like to really grow and to really run it like a business, you have to stop trying to do every step yourself. Now, in another lesson, we'll be sharing with you guys in the near future. We're going to be talking about, what are some things that you need to do and some things you shouldn't be doing. But again, what we want to emphasize to you guys is this: is at the end of the day, the system is the most important thing. Otherwise, what's going to happen is it just becomes a very high-paying job, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to end up doing all this stuff. I mean, remember, a lot of you left a job because you hated it. But if you go into real estate and you do everything yourself, guess what? You're going to hate that job even more because, believe me, that will literally drive you crazy.
Now you trade one boss for another, which is you, and
unfortunately, you can't fire you.
You can't fire that boss.
So the joke is like, well, I got a new boss, and unfortunately, I can't fire him because he's me. So, folks, in this lesson, what we want to emphasize to you guys is the importance of having a system. And like I said, it can be fairly simple.
Yeah.
But the key is that as long as you follow it over and over again, and it requires fine tuning, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it doesn't require you to do the whole work from beginning
Right.
to the end. It definitely have to have some people, and every system that you look at, every great system that you look at, have more than one person working on it.
It's built around the team.
Yeah, it's built around the team, and you shouldn't be doing all that work. And once you set that system up, your life is going to be a lot easier, and you can do a whole lot more things. Not just thinking about business 24/7. You will have your time off. You'll have your family time. You will have the real estate business running smoothly, so you can make money, and that'll provide for your family, for yourself, and for your habits.
Right. So, that also brings up another point, which we'll cover again in a future episode: the importance of having a team. There's a myth about, like a self-made millionaire, which, believe me, I'll say right now on record, it is a myth. Okay, it is actually built around teams. So, folks, this is Alex and Rock, and we want to wrap up this lesson here again, emphasizing the importance of having a system. And of course, the best thing to do is, instead of trying to invent it yourself, is adopt somebody's system.
Yep.
And then that saves you a lot of time and a lot of money. So, until the next episode, we'll talk to you guys soon. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Now, go claim your free CD and tons of other bonuses valued at $500 for free at goldcoachingclub.com.